Welcome to the Marriage Can Win Show. I am Eric, and this is my beautiful, lovely wife, Dr. Sakisha Halleck, and we are always, forever, your relationship experts.
Well, here at Marriage Can Win, we educate, empower, and encourage you to embrace that marriage can win, especially when you focus on 3 key areas: improving your communication skills, developing sound money management skills so you are not living paycheck to paycheck, and enhancing your level of intimacy so your marriage can win. And we've been focusing a lot on the family structure these last couple of weeks. But this week, we want to delve into something completely different. For the past couple of months, you've heard us talking about a project that we've been involved in called Struggling to Keep the Vows. And we are super excited to announce that the book is ready to be released. We're super, super excited. We actually have a copy of it right here. So for those of you, if you're listening online, you can make sure you join us. We are going to have an amazing celebration of the book launch. Join us online next Wednesday, September 30th at 7 p.m. Now, this event is going to be free, but you must register in order to gain access to it. Now, the website for that is very simple. It's bit.ly/keep the vows. Again, bit.ly/keep the vows. And we are super excited. We want to introduce you to one of our collaborators on this dynamic project. And she is an amazing woman. We were so happy to have her on board on this project. So we're going to let her tell you a little bit about herself, because I'll be here forever singing her praises. She's an amazing woman, an intercessor. She's a licensed therapist, and she knows how to tell you a little something about marriage and relationships. So everybody join me in welcoming one of our amazing co-authors, Miss Shelly Fan. Shelly, how are you doing this evening?
I am doing well. I am thoroughly blessed, spoiled, feeling great during these challenging times, to feel great and to just acknowledge all the things that we're grateful for. It's an amazing feeling. So I feel amazing.
Wow. Well, Shelly, we're just so honored to have you as a part of this project. You know, when you talk about couples and marriage and relationships, a lot of times people don't like to deal with those hard issues, those parts of marriage and relationships that may be challenging, particularly those couples out there that are struggling to keep their vows. Yes. So that was the premise for this entire project. When you think about it, when you hear those words, for better, for worse, in sickness and health, for richer, for poorer, until death do you part, that, sometimes they take it with a grain of salt until they actually are walking through those aspects of the relationship. And then it's like, oh my gosh, I really didn't think that applied to me. So for you being a therapist, we love the perspective that you brought to this project. Yes. Tell us, what is the one thing that attracted you to this Struggling to Keep the Vows project?
Awesome. Well, twofold. It's twofold. So as you stated, I am a licensed psychotherapist. I'm an owner of a consulting firm that specializes in corporate training. So we bring corporations and other business entities to their next level through the provision of psychoeducation. On a day-to-day basis, I provide individual therapy, couples counseling, and also family therapy as well. And so I wanted to be able to use the skills and expertise that I have and the anointing on my life to really help couples to build the skill set that they need to fight and to win, because it's all about a skill set, learning new information. I say this all the time. My mentor says it all the time, that our breakthrough, our survival, our abundance, total life prosperity is on the other side of something that we do not know. And I wanted to be able to provide that new information and that perspective. In addition to that, I also had a personal goal, and that was to take my own experience in a failed marriage, a marriage that ended in divorce, and to use the experience that I had in that to be able to provide a different perspective than the other collaborators to those who were reading. And the reason why I was so committed to doing that is because I did not have that education. I did not have that support. even though I had examples around me from individuals who were married for many, many years, and I saw the way that my aunts and my uncles, my own parents, right, my grandparents, watched them live out that vow to the very, very end. When it came to me, I still lacked the skill set that I needed to truly fight and do the things that I needed to do to assure that we were able to overcome our obstacles. So this project has given me the opportunity to share that experience on a personal level, spiritual level, and professional level as well.
Wow. Now that is amazing. And that's one of the things, of course, you're an amazing therapist and the anointing that's on your life, and just watching you being able to connect with couples and help people. I thought it would be really, really appropriate to help, or bring a fresh perspective.
Yes.
Because it's very easy to say, okay, you guys are still married. What do you really have to offer? And we're like, well, we've been through the challenges,
Yes,
and that's why it's a practical guide on how to win at marriage for couples who are going through what you're going through, but to also bring a fresh perspective that, okay, I've been where you are and this is what happened. But then to say, okay, well, these are the lessons I've learned. These are the strategies that you can incorporate that will help you in your marriage. And I think that's really so important in this season. We've been talking a lot about the significance and the importance of the family structure in America, and how it's been, I'd hate, for lack of better words, watered down or obliterated. I mean, I'm at a lot of words right now, but this is a subject that really hits home for us. And we think it's really, really important for our listeners, for our readers, to understand that you don't have to go through it alone, that you don't have to suffer in silence. You have a lot of people that are struggling to keep their vows. And because they're in positions of authority, because they're in ministry, because, they have this appearance, they're afraid to open up, to help someone for someone to be able to help them peel back those layers and really deal with the issues. And we wanted couples to understand that, look, being in ministry, being a professional, it doesn't, prevent you from having those same challenges. But here's an opportunity to connect with a group of individuals who have been there and are willing to be transparent in their journeys. And I think that's going to be the blessing to help couples get to that other side.
Well, I think people can really relate because you're not someone who's never gone through anything.
Right.
It's not like we were just married last month. Have the best marriage and relationship, No, when we got 22 years, been together 26 years,
and been through a lot of challenges,
been through a lot of ups and downs, and the fork in the road. We've been there, done it, wrote the book.
But you know what? The challenging thing is just being able to allow the readers to understand. A lot of times you're looking at couples and they're smiling on the outside, but suffering in silence on the inside.
Yes.
So when people see us smiling, we're like, yes, because we are at a place now where we're good. You didn't see the nights that we cried, the tear-soaked pillows, looking over at a stranger like, why are you still here? And understanding that you can overcome that, and your marriage can still win. So that is just something that we think is awesome. So what is one of the greatest pieces of advice that you could give to couples that are struggling to keep their vows?
Oh man, I before I get into that, I want to address something that you said about the family structure being watered down. When you said that, immediately I can hear Dr. Miles Monroe's voice so loud in my ears, where he teaches that unity, that covenant marriage between a man and a woman, just how important and powerful it is, because strong marriages produce strong families, and strong families produce strong communities, and strong communities promote a strong nation. And so when we're talking about our country as a whole, our world as a whole, the enemy knows that if they can attack the unity between a man and a woman, attack that marriage, then there's a win, right? There's a win for the dark side. And so we have to understand that it's so much bigger than ourselves, that the reason that we have to fight is so much more than our happiness, but it's also a part of our purpose as kingdom believers. One of the things that I will say is that I am not coming from a perspective of I was in a marriage and I was, a young marriage. We were married for 2 or 3 years. No, we were married for 15 years. And that's a really long time, in my opinion, anyway. 15 years, 2 children, achieved great success financially, had our struggles as well. And walking away from the marriage was because we did not see the light at the end of the tunnel. We thought the grass was greener on the other side. We thought that we had reached the end. And one of the things that I want everyone to know who reads the book is this: it is worth the fight. The grass is not greener on the other side. There is an answer. There is a way to work out your issues. You do not have to be motivated to fight. A lot of the times we think that our feelings are facts, and they are not. They are just feelings. Feelings come and feelings go. And a lot of the times when we are making the decisions to separate, they are based on very emotional decisions, and emotions are not permanent. Feelings are not facts. And so sometimes people feel that because I'm checked out, or because we're both checked out, because we don't have the motivation, because we do not want it, means that it's time to throw in the towel. And let me tell you, listen, it is worth the fight even though you don't want it. Go to those counseling sessions, even though you don't want it. Go on those date nights, even though you don't want it, because there is victory on the other side. We have to stay persistent. We have to persevere. We have to fight to keep that vow, because everything that you're going through can pass away. It can be a season. We never, ever want to make a permanent decision on something that is temporary. And listen, I have heard the worst of the worst.
Yes.
I've been in this field for over 24 years. I get it. I understand it. Are there exceptions to what I just said? Absolutely, there are. There are individuals who are in very abusive situations where their livelihood, they're staying in the marriage would place them at imminent risk of harm, or imminent risk of harm to their children. So I get it. There are exceptions. But for most of the reasons why people divorce, they are for situations and issues that can be repaired, that situations that can be restored, situations where God's redeeming power can manifest. And this is from a person who made that decision, and even now can say, could we have fought it out? Absolutely. Could we have overcome our differences? Absolutely. And so that is my perspective. That is the contribution that I have to the book. Hey, I've been there, done that. I made that decision. And I am telling you, it is not the answer. Fighting and persevering and believing God to do the rest is the answer. One of the things that I forgot, one of the things that I wasn't focused on, I was acting like I was in a marriage with him, just us two. No, I totally forgot that this was a threesome with Jesus right smack in the middle. And we have to be reminded of that. And this is why, like you said, staying in silence will keep people trapped in a lie. We have to talk about it. We have to make sure that we are aligning ourselves with other people that understand the importance of the fight. A lot of the times we are listening to that whisper, oh, marriages don't work, sex goes sour as soon as you get married, she changes as soon as kids are born. All of those negative messages that cause people to run as soon as things don't look like what you expected. And so we need new information. We need real life stories where people can talk about when I lost attraction, when the love shifted, when we didn't have anything to talk about but God. We have to hear more of those stories. We need people to be more honest about their situations. We need ministry leaders and other political leaders and those of influence to take the mask off and be honest about your experience to help people to break through and continue to maintain their marriages. And that is why I love this project, and I love what God is doing and is about to do with this book.
Now, see, that's why I'm saying, that's why we got you in this project with us. Because you got to get the best of best so you can reach the rest.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So all y'all looking at that, if you haven't gotten a copy of this book, Struggling to Keep the Vows, you best go ahead and get your copy, because all that power that you see right there is in the book. And when you read it, that same power is going to jump out to you and change your lives, change your relationship, turn it from being upside down to right side up.
Yes. And the thing is that it works, marriages work, but you do have to work at it. Think about how the level of commitment we have to our jobs, to our families, to our businesses. Now, you mean to tell me you can't give that same amount of energy to your marriage? And I'm sure you may be listening and saying, okay, Sakita, you don't know what I've been through. You don't know this. I understand. Trust me, I do understand. But the fact remains, we will fight tooth and nail. And I don't know who I'm talking to, but for those of you who have children, regardless of what it looks like, if your child needs something, is in need, you will go to warfare on that for that child. You will be on your knees morning, noon, night, seeking help, seeking guidance, whatever you need to do. So don't tell me you can't do it for your marriage.
That's right.
You know, you can either make a choice and stay where you are, or take a chance and fight for it. And I say, you fight for that marriage. And I mean, like Shelly mentioned, of course, there are going to be situations if your life is in danger. By all means, we understand that. I'm not saying put your life in danger by any means, but don't just throw in the towel so easily, because when you leave one relationship and you go to another, there's still unresolved issues that need to be addressed. So you carry them from one relationship to the other. That's a new person, but they're still going to have their set of challenges as well. So that's just something we want you to be mindful of. But again, we invite you to join us next Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Take a moment, invest in yourself, invest in your relationship. Register now at bit.ly/keep the vows. Again, bit.ly/keep the vows. Now, Shelly, I'm sure that the listeners are out there like, how can I get in touch with her? Can you provide them your contact information? Because we're coming through a pandemic. You have couples that have been quarantined and they're learning. For some reason, some of them have been, this is their first time actually being together in the house for extended periods of time. And after talking to some wives, they're at their wits' ends. So we want to encourage them. If that's you, don't increase this number of divorce filings. Stay connected with us. Let me give you Shelly's information. Shelly, what's your website? What's the easiest way for them to contact you?
So the easiest way to connect with me, again, is through my website. That's www.askshelley.com. You can also connect by emailing me directly at info@askshelley.com. I don't know how many times people have come to me and they have said, you know what? I really was hesitant about coming in today. I've tried therapy before and therapy did not work. And every time I hear that statement, I kind of cringe, because therapy is not designed to work. It exists for people to work it, right? So you're not therapy. I say to my client, you have to work therapy. Yeah. So it's just like that with marriages. People just expect the marriage to just miraculously work. You have to work it. And it takes skill sets. It takes those foundational skills that many of us did not learn. Some of us don't even know what submission looks like. We have to learn. There's a lot of lessons that we didn't learn from our parents, or we learned a lot of negative lessons in watching them, right? And so it's important to learn new associations, learn the skill, and you can get that through therapy. You can get that through therapy. You can work and you can, like I said, learn the new skills and fight to preserve your marriage. I'm ready for the phone call.
Wow. All right. Well, we're super excited, Shelly. We want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us this evening. We provided the contact information. You guys make sure you stay connected with Shelly. And one of the things you said, and that's a totally different conversation. I'm like, oh gosh, do I want to say something? But yeah, absolutely. Submission is not a curse word. It is not. Now, we'll be here all night on another day. And how it's a powerful word. It comes from a place of strength. But we might have to get together with you and do a live and talk about it. But we definitely want to encourage you. Remember, bit.ly/keep-the-vows. And, you know, the book is called I Do, Struggling to Keep the Vows, a practical guide of how to win at marriage for couples who are going through couples that have gone through what you are going through. So we really, really would love for you to join us next Wednesday. We look forward to seeing you there. Shelly's going to be there. For those of you, make sure you register. We've got giveaways. We're going to be celebrating. We're going to have vendors there. It's going to be amazing. So we look forward to seeing you there. Shelly, thank you again so much for joining us, and we will be in touch soon. We look forward to next Wednesday celebrating with all of you guys, okay?
Yay!
All right, thank you again so much, Shelly. Now, we've been talking a lot about the family structure, but what we wanted you to understand is the importance of that family structure and this relationship to marriages today. So today, joining us on this show, we have a dynamic couple that we partner with. They are co-authors with us on this Struggling to Keep the Vows project. They are amazing, and they're going to share a little bit with you about themselves, and let's just talk about the project. So everybody, we want you to help us welcome Keen and Octavia Tillman. Keen and Octavia, how are you guys doing this evening?
Oh, we're doing good, and yourself?
We're doing great. First of all, we want to thank you guys so much for just being a part of this project. You've been amazing, pushing through. I'm sure we're like, oh my goodness, I'm getting the message from this lady again. But I mean, you guys have such an amazing story. Can you just take a moment and share with the listeners just a minute or two about yourselves? Like how long you've been married? Just tell us a little bit about yourselves.
I'm so sorry.
Hi, everybody. My name is Keen Tillman. This is my wife, Octavia. We've been together for over 8.5 years, but we've been married for 7 years. And,
wow.
And it's a blessing. I like to say marriage is a beautiful thing. And I always tell people marriage is what you make of it. It can be a good thing or it can be a bad thing, but the choice is on you as to what you make your marriage out to be.
Oh, that's awesome. So Octavia, you want to tell us a little bit about you? What do you do? And Keen's giving us the spiel. You've been together 8.5 years.
I can't. Well, I know it's been
almost 9 since we met.
Oh yeah, it'll be okay. We met almost 9 years ago. We met.
Okay.
It was Christmas Eve, 2011.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was a special night. But you know that we met.
Coincidence.
Yeah, but I didn't know that was going to be my husband, or let alone I was going to start dating him. But I guess what I could share was at the time of us meeting, I was not even looking. I was not interested of dating anybody at the time. And I told him that up front. And so we just became friends. And
she pushed me away a lot.
But yeah, so
I didn't give up though.
Yeah, because of the respect of being my friend and respecting my wishes, allowed me to look at him differently and, you know, stick to it, and then it developed to where we're at right now. So
let's not forget my first conversation over the phone. We brought God. God was in our conversation. So,
yeah.
So we definitely put him first.
So yeah.
So that's
and that's the key, and that's basically the key to marriage is putting God first.
Oh, wow. See, I love that. And I think
yes,
a lot of couples, they don't do that. They don't focus on the fact that God has to be in the center of your relationship. So to us and to all of the listeners, I'm sure they're like, that's amazing, especially with your first conversation. Now, Keen, you said something really interesting. You said you were persistent. You did not give up. What was it that let you know what, I just can't give up on her?
Well, early on, like I say, from the first time I saw her, she caught my attention, and then given the opportunity that I was able to say something to her, and just seeing how the conversation went. It was just funny because we met in Orlando and did not know that both of us had lived in Sanford.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I guess. Oh, coincidence. But he looked familiar to me.
She claimed I looked like
He
somebody.
did. He looked
that
like
she
someone
knew.
I knew in the
Uh-huh.
past, like at school. I thought maybe he was somebody I maybe seen at FAM.
Oh,
Okay.
I was like, oh, he looks so familiar. And I was like, where do you go to school? And then he mentioned high school, Seminole. And that's how we found out we both lived in Sanford. So, and then it went from there.
After the first conversation, I knew that I wanted to get to know her, and was hoping and expecting for it to go further than just that phone conversation.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Fun fact too, Octavia, I, and my wife, we're all alumni from FAMU, and actually, Octavia and I, we were in the same department, Computer Information Systems, and Sakisha and I were actually blessed to actually be there to see you guys get married, doing
Yes.
and everything.
He was at the wedding.
That was a good time.
Yeah.
Wedding, really beautiful. And
Good time, indeed.
I think just the fact that you kept God at the center of your marriage. And
Yes.
I looked through the wedding pictures, and there was the pictures of, I think it was the ladies, and they were standing around Octavia praying for her.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it was something about that just really hit home. So when you're a couple and you keep God at the center of your marriage, and that's one of the first things you notice. Everybody, of course, the dress was beautiful, the photos, everything about it was beautiful, but it was just that photo that I'm like, oh goodness, it was something about it you just connect with.
But it's funny you said that, because one of our PowerPoint presentations, we did a conference in Atlanta called Relationships Matter. And we talked about the power of prayer. And King, I have you and all your men praying for you as one of our PowerPoint presentations.
Awesome.
And we had to do
Wow,
a
that was
breakout session, and I utilized you as an example of what.
Cool.
Yeah, so you famous in Atlanta.
Hey, but check it out though. Also thinking about just the title of the book, Struggling to Keep the Vows.
Yes.
And when you making your vows, you making them before God as well as all the people that are there, but you making a sacred promise and sacrament before God. And with those vows, you want to keep those vows because you made them vows before God, and that was a promise you made that was made to God as well as to that person you promised to give your all in your life, spend the rest of your life with. And if you're not fit to have that mindset, and while you're standing in front of that altar, or you having doubts about even coming close to even living by those vows, I say don't even go through the process. Don't waste your time or that person's time, because you already set the fail.
Yeah. Actually, it's 7:37. What is it, 9 o'clock tonight? We actually broke that down, because 9 o'clock tonight on our Marriage Can Win show, we actually talked about and we shared about the vows. And we talked about the statistics of who normally can't keep the vows, or they found out women or men who what it takes them the hardest to keep the vows, like for richer or poor, for better or for worse, for sickness and poor. And we had some amazing statistics.
Yeah, it was really interesting.
I'm not going to tell the show, but tonight at 9 o'clock,
I'm waiting to hear.
Oh no! Hey, you gotta wait if you want to know. You gotta watch the show.
Yeah.
I got you. Hey, that's good publicity.
Yeah, because you're going to be on next week's show, which is next week's next week.
Okay. All right. So tell us, what was it about it that attracted you guys or made you guys willing to be a part of the Struggling to Keep the Vows project?
Well, I think I had presented to him because what attracted it to me was it was something that we could do together as a couple. And I thought that was really important, because since the beginning of our journey together, because I'm such an entrepreneur and business-minded person, and I do so many different projects, but I wanted something that we can start off together as a couple, work together as a couple, and both be interested in, and something that we both have experience in together. And I was like, I thought it was a great opportunity and also to share our journey, because I know sometimes I do get people that approach me about, how did I know he was the right one? Because they know my past experiences, and then King, I know he gets calls from his male friends on advice, and I thought we could share that to others. Will be a blessing.
Oh,
Okay.
well,
And that is.
yeah. King, you want to share a little bit too?
When Octavia brought up the opportunity, I thought that would be something good that we can do together, as well as with other couples, and being able to be a blessing. But at the same time, people can learn from us, but we can also learn from things from the other couples involved. And I've known from the time we've been married all the way up to now, I can think of countless people I know that have got married and that done been divorced from that time. And a lot of people are not willing to fight for those vows which we just talked about. As I say, struggling to keep the vows. Are you really in this marriage for the long haul, long haul, or you just thinking? Because some people just look at the wedding and they think we done seen Cinderella and all these fairy tales and all these, and we just look at thinking everything's just gonna be a happy ending, but it's a process. It's not gonna happen overnight. You're gonna go through things, but are you willing? Just like I say, if you willing to give these vows, are you willing to go through everything, through the good and the bad, the sickness and health? They'll do us apart. Are you really willing to go through that? And so I think that this will be a good experience for us, and well as others who will obtain the book themselves and be able to read it and look into it. And it can help them out in probably some different, because I know every different couple in the book, they have a different insight on something from their point of view. So it can be something that we can learn from everybody, and somebody else can read it and see something that they're going through, and light bulb might probably like, wow, they're probably going through the same. They're going through the same thing that I'm going through, and this is something I don't experience. Like, wow, I never thought about probably taking an approach this way, or probably if I would have did this at one time, did this instead of that. Conflict resolution and just working on being on one accord, because when we get married, we become one. And working on keeping ourselves as one collectively, and not being so that we break apart, that we end up being individually and collectively, because it's easy to happen. But like I say, you got to work. Like I say, your marriage is like a job, and you got to work on it. you got to put the work in 24/7.
Yes, you do. Now, see, there you have it. You have one of our co-authors that's really willing to share a little bit about the lives and also give you a little insight about the book, Struggling to Keep the Vows. This is why you must actually take the time to go out and register for our book launch. And that way, and get a copy of the book so you can get the defining moments from 10 different individuals, how they overcame the issues, the great divide in their marriages, to different stories, different perspectives. And that way you can really, how you say, get a perspective. Yeah. You're like, man, I thought I was going through something bad, and they went through something and they still survived.
Yeah, and this gives a lot of couples out there hope and inspiration, because you find too many times that couples are willing to throw in the towels at the first hint of adversity, or when there's some conflict in the marriage, and some of it simply because they don't know how. They don't have the tools and strategies, or it might be simply because of something that they witnessed when they were growing up, so that's all they knew how to do. But the goal of this project is to teach couples how to stay and to fight. Yes. And there's one disclaimer we always give. Now, if your life is in jeopardy or you're being abused, by all means, we're not encouraging you to stay. Right. But what we are encouraging for those that's not the case, to stay and fight. You're going to have to roll up your sleeves and do the hard work. Marriage is not an easy thing, but it's definitely worth it. You spent lots of time picking out the dress, the
That's right.
venue. You've poured hours into picking the right colors and everything. So you mean to tell me you won't spend that amount of time and more on willing to save it? That was one day. That was just a snippet of what your marriage is like. So once the lights are off and everyone's gone home, you've got to be willing to fight, because now life is really going to take place. And we want to encourage you, for those of you who feel like, you know what, I can't do it anymore. You're going to hear from couples who are in your shoes, who felt like, you know what, I can't do this anymore. And then you will be able to see the tools and strategies that they use to be able to help to push forward. And we, as part of the collaborators on the book, are here to push you forward, to encourage you to, you know, even though you're struggling to keep your vows, divorce is not the only option out there. That should be like the very, very, very last option. Because when you're in a marriage and your relationship, you end that relationship, and guess what? You go into another relationship. Have you actually resolved those issues? That person is going to bring their own set of challenges. So guess what? It's going to be the same cycle. So you're going to have to be able to deal with those challenges head on. So we're just super excited.
So this Wednesday, September the 30th at 7 p.m., you can go ahead and register now. You got to have a registration. It's free, but get registered. Go to bit.ly/keep the vows. That's with the S. bit.ly/KEEPTHEVOWS.
Now, for Keen and Octavia, what is one piece of advice that you would like to offer to a couple who's out there listening to this broadcast and saying, you know what, I'm struggling and I don't know what to do. I don't know whether to stay or whether to leave. What is one piece of advice that each one of you would give to that couple?
Ladies first.
Oh goodness. I guess it depends on what area that you're really having your biggest struggle. But for me, prayer. I always go to prayer. I do have a book. I believe in you should pray over your spouse daily, and there are different prayers called Power of the Praying Wife.
Yes.
And daily prayers that you can pray over your spouse. And I feel like in the like different areas as far as talk, purpose, their faith, their walk, all of that, different areas of their life. And if you cover them, I believe you should see some manifestation. If you go to God first, pray, and start praying over your spouse daily in different areas of their life. And then also pray on what areas of your life that you need to work on, that you need to change. And ask God to help you see your spouse the way He sees them, through His eyes of love, and hear what He's saying, and so on. That's pretty much what I would start with, is the prayer and praying on your spouse.
Oh, awesome. What about you, Keith?
Yeah, prayer also, definitely God, and humbleness, being willing to humble yourself to your spouse and be submissive when it is needed, and not letting pride, ego, and conflict stand in the way, as well as always having a good outlook. A good outlet you can go to, and be mindful of not letting any and everybody into definitely not letting any and everybody into your situation.
Okay.
And what you're going through, and always willing to have if you need to just have someone to talk, always make sure it's a good person that you can talk to, that's going to give you good advice, not nobody that's going to tell you anything. Because you definitely want to make sure it's a married person for one, and that's what that's a good outlet. I'm trying to think of how to say this, but that's gonna encourage and inspire you.
Yeah.
And that want to see you win. That want to see you win and not get divorced, and it's going to encourage you to fight for your marriage and not give up on it.
Right, and they're going to be transparent, not just going to tell you what you want to hear, but they're going to tell you what you need.
Yeah, what you need. Yeah, someone's going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, to make you feel comfortable.
Exactly. Well, here you got it, everyone. This is where you get all of that super advice into struggling to keep the vow. And we are inviting you out to, again, we want to invite you out to the book launch. It is this Wednesday, September the 30th at 7 p.m. Remember, go ahead to bit.ly/KEEPTHEVOWS. And I know my ABCs.
Oh my goodness. With you. So for Keen and Octavia, I'm sure we've got listeners out there like, you know what, I like them. I can connect with their stories. I just want to chat with them. They might have questions. How would they get in contact with you guys?
Well, they can email me at octavia75hotmail.com.
And for myself, I can be reached at keen.tillman@gmail.com.
All right. So you guys heard it. If you want to stay connected with Octavia, it's octavia75@hotmail.com. And for the guys, if you want to stay connected with Keen, it's Keen, KEANE.Tillman with 2 L's @gmail.com. So Keen and Octavia, we just want to thank you so much for joining us this evening on the broadcast. We want to thank you for being a part of this project, and we're so excited. And we just continue pray many more blessings over your marriage, and we're just super excited. We've got to stay in contact, and we're all looking forward to celebrating next Wednesday evening.
Hey, thank you for inviting us, and like I say, just seeing y'all are motivation and inspiration for us as well.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you.
And we are super excited. Tonight we have joining us 2 of our amazing co-authors on this project, and we're so excited. We want you guys to stay connected with them. Everybody help me welcome Pastor Patrick and Ramona Hampton, 2 of our amazing co-authors. How are you doing, Pastor Patrick and Ramona?
We're doing awesome. We're doing awesome. Just blessed, I tell you. Just excited about this book launching. I mean, we have people waiting on the edge of their seats, so they're just, they're just excited. They're ready to get that copy. So we're just excited to be able to be involved in this collaboration. I mean, we know that great things is going to happen with not only with us, but everyone that's involved.
Amen. Yes. Yes.
Awesome.
Well, we're super excited, and tell them they don't have to wait much longer because the books are being delivered. We're about to launch it, and they will be able to receive their copies, and we are super excited. So for those of you who may not be familiar with our launch, go ahead before your spaces run out, go over to bit.ly/keep the vows. Again, bit.ly/keep the vows. Now this event is free, but you are going to have to register to gain access. So you can join all of us at the launch of this book. So Pastor Patrick and Ramona, can you share with our listeners a little bit about who you are, how long you've been married, just so that those that this might be their first time listening into the show, we want to know who you are.
Yes, yes.
You go ahead, baby.
Oh, okay. I will. You know I love to talk. So, we've been married for 25 years.
Yes.
25 years. Just July just passed. And one thing about it, when we met each other, we've been together since the day we met.
Yeah.
Since the day we met, we've been together. Yeah. And one thing we base our marriage on is first putting God first in everything that we do. And once we realized to putting God first in everything that we do, we knew everything else would line up, and everything else we'll be able to give God all the glory, because that's who we put first in our marriage. But yes, there will be struggles.
Yes,
there will be storms.
I tell everyone, if you can get over I say like maybe the first 3 years of your marriage, you have a successful chance of really making it, because it seems like the first 2 to 3 years is always a struggle, because you really getting to know one another.
Exactly.
You getting to know each other's turn-ons, turn-offs.
Oh yeah.
And it's something that where you're used to having a single life, and you used to having, I have this, I have that. Now it's a team. So we have this, we have that, and that's what we have to, that's what we have to come to agreements with, to know that the marriage will work and that it will survive.
Exactly. And one thing we said early on, we said divorce was not an option.
It was not an option.
It was not an option. And even I always say, we say to each other, if you take care of my heart, I would take care of your heart. So that's what we do. We take care of each other's heart. And what I mean by that is don't do anything that you wouldn't want me to do to you.
That's right. And I think that's enough. We might give some more snippets away. So we kind of want.
Now, you know what? I love what you said. Divorce is not an option. That means when you came into your marriage, you were intentional about your marriage.
Yes.
And we just wanted to just remind the listeners that it's important that when you come into the marriage, you come in being intentional, like you guys, that divorce is not an option.
Mm-hmm.
You come in with a thought pattern, recognizing that, yes, we do know there may be struggles. Yes, we do know there may be challenges, but we're committed to working through them together. Too often we see people that want to throw in the towel, at the slightest bit of dissension in the marriage, and recognizing that, okay, you walk away from this relationship. When you walk into another relationship, there are still going to be challenges.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about that, about couples that sometimes they just want to throw in the towel too early.
Exactly.
Yeah, they see the struggle, but to them, they're not really willing to put up the fight to save their marriage.
Exactly. And one thing we always say is the time that you put into your job and in your career, what you put into that to be promoted from whatever you are to manager, what have you, that's the same time, even more time needs to be put into your marriage. It's an everyday thing. It's every day, every hour. And everything you do in your life is help building up that marriage and making it strong. So you can't get home and think you can cut it off today because maybe you don't feel good or maybe I don't want to talk today. You can't. It ain't cutting no marriage off. You got to be ready to deal with whatever that comes. And with that, we said that when you get married, you're marrying everything that comes with him. So what I mean by everything that comes with him, all his past hurt, all his past disappointment, all his breakups, all of that, even things that happened to him as a child that he hasn't healed from, you're marrying all that. And the same thing with him. So with that, you got to come together and be able to heal each other, meet each other right there. And my thing is, I came out of a marriage. This is my second marriage, a divorce that wasn't good at all. So when my husband married me, he had to deal with everything that came with that, all that struggle that I went through in that marriage, the abuse, the neglect and all that. But he was willing to take the time out to help me heal because God made him for me. He made him for me to help me go through this together. And with that, that's what made us stronger and can love each other more because I married him with 2 little girls and he was able to say yes to me and yes to being a father instantly.
Wow.
Well, before we go on, I want to just add to what you said in your opening when you were talking about treating each other the way you want to be treated. Of course, you being a pastor, you know that's just one of God's commandments. He gave us 2 commandments, and He told us to love thy neighbor and we love thyself.
No, that's
we
right.
do that. We love our wife and we love ourselves. We're gonna treat our wife with respect, love, and cherish them because we want to be treated with respect, love, and cherishment. Isn't that right?
Amen.
Very much so. Very much so. And that's just the thing about it. Just like I honor and always cherish everything that God does for me, I do the same for my wife. I mean, this is my queen. This is who He blessed me with.
Yes.
This is the one that he made for me. She, just like she said, God made me for her, vice versa. Yes. And the thing about it is, she's part of my destiny, and I'm telling you, I would not trade it for nothing in the world. For nothing in the world. I'm telling you, I told my wife, I said, God forbid if anything happened, I said, I'll just be single again. I'll just be single again, but I love this woman. I tell you, it's just amazing because of our story, because we did meet at a cookout at a friend's house, day one, and we never been apart since. Never. And I already knew right then and there when I saw her, I said, that's my wife. I said, I already knew that was my wife.
Yes.
2 weeks into the relationship, I asked her to marry me, and she was like, oh, no. She said, not yet. So I guess she had to, continue to figure me out, you know. And then at the time, I didn't meet her daughters, so I had to meet them and pass that test.
Yeah.
It was a task, but you know, I love them just like I, you know, like we both conceived them, and that's just the thing about it. And they accepted me, and then that let me know right then and there that God had already ordained this marriage, and no matter what, you know, highs and lows that there may be, God is still going to have the victory. He's going to have the glory out of all of this, and that we're going to have a wonderful bliss. So again, we're just excited about this, and just excited about what God is getting ready to do, you know, to all of us.
Yes,
So,
and one thing about it, so many people, they go into a marriage and they go into the marriage for the wrong reasons. They go into the marriage because they want to have sex and all this, and see a man that maybe they can make some money with and have this and have all that. It's not that. One thing I said, when I was struggling in my first marriage, God reminded me of something. And he said, why are you coming to me with it? The problems you're having with him. Did you come to me before you married him? The answer was no. When I got divorced, my girlfriend told me, she said, Ramona, what are you looking for in a husband? She said, write it down and you pray about it and let God do it. So when he came to me, I met him so fast, and he came to me like as a man just ready to love me and love my kids and be a husband to me. I was sitting back and I was like, God, this is fast. God said, you prayed about it. God said, when I send you something, I don't send you nothing half. When you pray about it and seek his face, God is not going to send you anything raggedy. He's going to send you his best. And what he did for me, he was building this man up all those years and building him to the man that he is today, just for me. All my brokenness, all that I had to come into the marriage with all my things I had went through, the molestation, the abuse, all that. I came with that, and this man was ready to heal me and help me through it. And God made him to do just that. How is it me, the person that I and all I done been through, and God can bring me something like this, and then I'm sitting here looking, and he asked me to marry him after 2 weeks. I'm like, God, what? but I was reminded, when you write something down and you seeking God's face for this to happen, God can't help but to give you the best. He can't help but to give you the best because you came to him first. Not when I got married 17, I didn't even know what I was doing. I was just ready to have sex, but knowing that I should have seek God and wasn't ready even at 17 or 18. So when you pray and you seek God's face, then he can deliver you just what you need. Just somebody made to help heal you.
Well, you know what? That is a wonderful look back there. Can you please share with our listeners and our viewers how long you guys been together and married?
We've been
together 26 years and been married 25 years.
Yeah.
All right, because I'm like, when people say what, he wanted to marry her after 2 weeks, and you know, most people think, oh, that ain't gonna last long. But you said how long?
Exactly.
What did God say?
We heard that too.
Yeah.
We heard that.
Oh, yeah. We heard that. And the funny thing about it was, I've heard that so much, and then the person that said it wound up being divorced within 2 years of his marriage.
Wow.
Now he's like, and he see me, it's like, wow, y'all still going at it? Yes, we are.
Yeah, and
25 years later.
Yeah.
Yes, one thing about it, we still like each other.
I like you.
Yeah, you like me.
Yeah.
So it's amazing because God said you're supposed to love everyone.
Yeah.
So we love everyone.
Yeah.
But to be in love and get excited when he come home. Some days he'll come home from work and I might not hear him when he come in and the dog making all this noise, jumping up. He said, well, where's my wife? That's what I expect. I'm like, okay, I'm coming, babe. And then he said, okay.
I get more excitement from the dog, and then here she comes coming. Wait a minute, hold on. It's supposed to be the other way around.
Yeah.
But you know what? You said something that's really, really important. And you talked about the importance of keeping God first in your relationship and seeking God, because I think so many times in relationships, like you said, the couples, their motives aren't pure. Their motives are just for the physical aspect because they look good. because they're dealing with lust, because that person has lots of money.
Yeah.
They are thinking about just a short-term period. What happens if you get in that marriage and if it's for a financial reason and they can't provide the money anymore? Is your marriage over? You have got to have a solid foundation built on Jesus Christ, such that when these struggles come, when these challenges come, when these tests and trials come, the marriage itself can withstand. And that's something we want to encourage couples, because there's, everybody's walk is going to be different. Everybody's relationship is going to be different. Everyone's challenges, but God will give you someone that can love you through those challenges.
Yeah.
We're all imperfect. I think about the fact that God loves us even when sometimes we're not doing right. And God is somebody that loves you despite your imperfections, just like God loves us despite our imperfections.
Oh, yeah.
So when you brought that up, that's just something that just resonated. I was like, that just resonated.
And you know what? It's amazing because a lot of people we have seen can get married and they have all the money, they have all this. And where is the love?
Wow.
And where is the love?
Yeah.
A foundation for a marriage. It's okay to struggle together.
That's right.
It's okay to live paycheck starting off and help build each other up. Him with his career, mine with me with mine. We just have to build together to get where we need to be.
Yeah.
That right there, you would appreciate more than anything in the world.
Yeah.
My husband told me a while back. He said, "Babe, even if we're in a cardboard box, long as we love each other and we're together." I told him I don't want the box, but okay.
Honestly, I love that.
I just want to chime in on this because, see, the thing about it is, what people have to understand in marriage is a team. It's not an individual person. This is a team. This is a brand. I call it a brand that you're building. You can either make a successful brand or you can have a brand that may fail. But through it all, even if it fails, if you love one another, if you really, really, truly love one another, there's nothing that God cannot hold back from you. And what I mean by that, we've seen marriages with the money. We've seen marriages with the houses. We've seen marriages with the cars. And now they're divorced. We've seen that. But we said that even through our struggles, people see us now and they're like, man, what's y'all story? I said, well, you have to sit down and really listen to this because, you only look at what you see now, but you didn't see where it happened at day one, where we were struggling, like she said, paycheck to paycheck, doing this, doing that to make sure that we got a roof over our head to survive. But then when we said that we had already said that divorce is not an option, that made the love for one another even stronger. So we already knew in spite of anything that we go through, we can make it. We can make it. We can make this thing successful. And long as and also when we keep our prayer life, we keep ourselves prayed up and pray for one another. God can't do nothing but to bless the marriage.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
And that's really important. So it's just a reminder out there, the couples, to keep God first in your marriage.
Yes.
There was another couple, I believe, that we interviewed them, and they said one of the first conversations that they had on the phone was about God.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And we thought that was really, really important. And like when I share with people, my husband was the reason I turned my life back over to God. And a lot of times you hear a lot about the wife leading encouraging the husband, but how he was living his life, the peace that he had. And I'm sitting there really to pull my hair out, and he's just sitting there reading his word, and he's chilling. I'm like, wait a minute, something is wrong here. Because did you not see that notice we got? Do you know this? Do you not? And he's like, God got it. And he's sitting there reading his word. And I'm like, I'm going to work. I'm stressed out. I'm coming home 8 hours later, 9 hours later. He's still at the table chilling, reading his word. And I said, okay, so if you got this kind of peace, and he's like, maybe you ought to read some of this word too. And it was so amazing. I started doing that, and I started to experience the same kind of peace that he had. And I was like, oh my God, this is what I've been missing, So just to see that during the midst of the storms in our marriages, how he could just be so cool, calm, and collected. And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, no, whatever it is you have, I want it. And he's like, well, you ready? Let's go. So we have to also be open to receive, because
Yes.
sometimes we feel that we know it all. And God's like, look, I'm trying to get your attention. I've connected you with this man for a reason. He has a relationship with me, and I want you to be able to receive from him, because I want you to be able to have a relationship with me as well.
Exactly.
So that was really, really important.
Exactly. You know,
We want to thank you for joining us today on our broadcast.
Let's keep the conversation going. You can connect with us via Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or subscribe to our YouTube channel under Marriage Can Win.
Also, you can join us 24/7 on our Marriage Can Win podcast at www.themarriagecanwinshow.com, and also connect to us at marriagescanwin.com.
Remember, you can be the change you want to see in your relationship. Until next time, see you soon.